Alright guys, welcome back to the shop, and I finally got my Hobart 140 handler in. So I thought we'd do an unboxing and get it set up. It don't come with solid wire, it comes with a flux core, but it does come with the gas kit, but I don't really think I'm gonna need it. I've already removed the Lincoln handy MIG from the welding cabinet, and I set it on the old one. One of my viewers said that I had a bad cable liner, so I've ordered a new cable liner. I think it's like 15 bucks for shipping. So when it gets in, I'll put the cable liner in it, and I may hook it up to see if it does any better with it. Maybe make a video, before and after video, see if it helps. I don't know. I mean, for 15 bucks it's worth a try. If nothing else, I'll put the flux core into the Lincoln, and I'll just take it out to the other shop and I'll use it for tacking stuff. So we'll get started unboxing this. This is a fairly heavy welder. I mean, it's, according to the shipping label, it's 66 pounds. So be careful. Be careful when you handle it. It is a little bit heavy, and they staple pretty good. Oh, watch these staples, that get you too. See, they staple pretty well. So right here on top, we got our gas, our hose, and we'll make some comparisons. I can see that this comes with a spring right here and a spring right up here at the handle, so that's a little bit different. Looks like it's already got the gas nozzle attached, but no guide yet. So you can see where the, maybe you can see the gas goes through these little holes, got two O-rings. So we'll set this over here on our cart. Next thing is a big box. Looks like it looks like the gas setup, and I noticed it comes with a looks like a line. I'm hoping that ain't going into the back of that welder. If it is, I can't use my line I want to use. So it's just a clear plastic or vinyl, I guess, hose. Comes with about 2 pounds of flux core, about a half a roll, basically, not even that, 5-pound roll. And it looks like it's a regulator kit. So, yeah, I'm assuming this is going to plug in, screw into the back, because this is going to screw in, and it looks like the hose is going to fit right here. So it's pretty much forcing me to use the regulator, which I really wouldn't want to do, but what can you do? I kind of like the regulator that's on here. No adjustments needed on it. So now we got our ground clamp, and the ground clamp on this one ain't a whole lot much better than what's on that Lincoln. And it looks like we got some tips and some kind of gauge. Oh, this is a metal gauge where you can tell what gauge metal you're actually welding. That's pretty handy right there. I'll show you a close-up of that in a minute. Very handy. I've always wanted one. And of course the book. I don't need no book right now. Let's see these tips. I have no idea what, right at the moment, what size tips these are. Appear to be 030, and they look like standard tips. So if it's 030, we're good, because I got 030 solid wire. So I'll stick them in my pocket. Now we got to kind of move some stuff off. All right, so I got to make room for the welder. We'll take it out of the box. There's a few more pieces of packing to get out of the way. It is a 110 Volt Welder, so it's got the 3-prong grounded plug on it. It is a good bit wider than my Lincoln. Here is the ground cable, and it appears to be already hooked up. So let me back this cart up. 66 pounds. It's kind of rough on my back, but we'll get her done. I try to bend it, my knees ain't no good either. Probably could have got the plastic off before I set it down. So right here where this red plug is, right there, is where the gas line's going to screw into the back. So we'll have to swap out the regulator on the tank, and I'll do it now. Alright, so the first thing, of course, we want to make sure it's closed. And I've got a pretty handy wrench I bought years ago to operate my acetylene tanks and oxygen tanks and all that stuff, so we'll just find the right one. This thing is pretty much multifunctional. Fits a lot of different sizes. And we'll save this one and use it on the Lincoln if I ever decide to get another. If I decide to use it like that. It sure ain't gonna do no good on this one. Then we'll pull this plug out right here. And screw this hose end in. Find the right size and tighten it up. Alright, then we'll get our regulator. It's got a protective cap on it. And it's going to slide in here. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this tank around where I can actually see this regulator. Like that. Alright, tighten it up. Should be the same size. And then the one thing I see is got this little chintzy ass hose clamp. I don't really like these hose clamps. We'll see how it does. This may be a good fit. I feel like it's going to be a pretty tight fit on this barb, so it'll probably work all right. Now to get this clamp moved. This is why I don't like these hose clamps. They're not the easiest clamps in the world to move around. Okay. Now, if it's still leaking, we're going to have to get some soapy water to see exactly where it's coming from. Well, whatever it was, it fixed it. No more leaks. Maybe it was just a little bit of trash I scraped out of there. Alright, so we can see we got about 1,900 pounds left on this right here. Then we'll screw this in, I think. Yeah. Now I have no idea what to set this at. That's the reason I wanted to keep my old one. But I'm showing about PSI range, I guess would be, no, this is CHF is the black line, L liters per minute is the red line. And I'm surprised it ain't just leaking out, but I'll have to figure out exactly where I'm supposed to be on that. This handle is going to be almost in line. It's a little bit higher than what it needs to be. Yeah, but we'll see if we can make it work. Now I just need my pliers. And we'll cut these ties off. So I believe this wire goes through this hole right here. And this other one just apparently somehow it screws into that. Let's see how bad a fit this is going to be with this handle. Alright, so stick it in there and then push it all the way up in there. And there's a little set screw in here that you tighten up, and everything should be set. Now we'll stick these in this other hole right here. If that'll go. I think they got to go sideways in here. That's the only hole they can go in though. It's kind of got to be blocked on the inside. I believe that'll go right through here. There we go. We'll just slide it right on past this handle. That right there. And now, I'll get you over here where you can see the inside. Alright, so it really, I guess I could pull the book out, but right up in here there's two spade connectors and here's the end. And I'm just assuming that these just plug in. It don't really say. But one thing we do need to do is swap. We got to swap this cable over to here and this cable over there because we need to be electrode positive, which is right here, versus negative the way it's set up. If you're using flux core, it would be set up already for you. Alright, we got them tightened down. Then we'll go ahead and stick these on. Sounds like we got a fire truck on its way somewhere. So next thing we need to do is to make sure that this wheel right here is on properly. It's going to feed off the back groove of it because that's what's lining up to our guide, cable guide here. So I've already flipped it around. Basically it's just it's a quarter turn, push in, turn, pull out, flip it around, push in, turn, and it locks in place with a little like a roll pin type deal. So it was set up for flux core initially with the knurled groove, and this groove is for 030 to 035, so I'm using 030 wire, so it'd be perfect for that. Alright guys, so I see an issue with this is it's not going to fit my roll. Okay, that's what I had originally was thinking, that this is set up for the big spool, so that's good. I didn't have that set up on my Lincoln. It didn't come with a big roll adapter, but I didn't really need it. So we got to get this off, and basically what we're going to do is we're just going to bolted, and this is 13 millimeter. We'll just unbolt that and put this back on here and figure out how it goes. Right. Just set this off, save that for another time. And now I believe we're just going to stick this on here. And it should just go right up in there. And then we'll just put these back. Kind of a little bit more pain in the butt than that Lincoln. You want to get the right amount of tension on it, but not so much that it's going to be hard to feed. So I'm thinking I feel a little bit of tension right there, so that should be good. So now I can get my wire out of here. We'll just cut off this piece of bent. And we'll feed this other through. I got to get up and stand up. You'll make sure it goes into our cable guide. Flip that down, and we'll put some tension on it. Now I'm assuming that these numbers are tension numbers. You can kind of see right here. Right now it's almost a 2. I'm going to go down to that level right there. Now we're ready to try to get this cable through this nozzle. Okay, so this nozzle don't screw on it, just sticks on. A little bit different. I'm going to turn up the wire speed, turn it on. Just feed it. There's our wire, a little bit more. I couldn't hardly see it. It's so small. I'm gonna just use one of these tips that come with the machine. It don't look like there's that much difference between these and the ones I bought from Harbor Freight, for that matter. But we're just gonna slide it over the wire and screw it in. And one thing I do notice is these tips do not have that flat spot that the Harbor Freight ones and the Lincolns have. But it's on there. And we'll just set this on there and seat it. And we'll just cut off this extra wire here. We don't really need it. Yeah. So the gun's done. Now all we're like is the ground. So what we typically do is we'll run the cable through the handle right here, and then we'll bolt it up right here on this nut. I ain't really liking how this thing's made. It's just a bolt basically that sits through there, but it's got a lot of tension on it, but this bolt's just going to spin and fray. So I'm going to put this, it's got a flat washer and a star washer. So once we get that on there, we'll put the flat washer on and the star washer and then the nut. And I think it's made where this bolt can't turn once it's seated anyway, so. Tighten it up. I can feel the head of the bolt wanting to slip in there, so. It does have a lot of tension on there, a lot more than that other ground cable. Alright. Well, that's all there is to it, setting up your Hobart. I'll have to figure out the gas. What I think I'm going to do now is do some test welding on my truck floor. Just see how it's going to operate. Oh, I was going to show you that one last thing that it comes with. I like it. Pretty cool. I don't understand why all welders don't come with this. If you can see if it's going to focus, there's so much light, but it's actually hard to read. But it's down to 24 gauge on the end all the way up to 5/16 here. So you got 24, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, 1/8. So very handy little tool. And over here on this side, I guess you can look and see what wire size you got. It's 24, 30, and 35. The little notches here. So anyway, guys, we're gonna turn around, get over here by the truck, and see what it'll do. All right, so want to see what size, or how thick this metal is. We'll just use this gauge right here, whichever one notch it'll fit in. And it looks like it's going to be, let's see, fitting that one. It looks like it's going to be in this one right here, which is 18 gauge is what we're welding. Now this right here is pitted, so it's probably probably the 24 gauge, instead as that is, or less. So at 18 gauge, we look at our chart. We're using 30 each wire. We need to set our settings on 2 and 35 to be pretty close to where we're at, what we need to be. 2 and 35. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit a couple of licks right up in here. I still got to cut out this area right here to weld back to that. I can't believe I didn't catch that when I was cutting that, but it was standing up high, proud of everything. So. Alright, so I need about 35, about 2. Turn the gas up a little bit. definitely liking it better than the Lincoln, but I wish I could hear the gas a little bit more. Alright guys, so I've been welding on 1 and about 35 thereabouts wire speed. I don't have any idea how many inches per second that is, or inches per minute. Yeah, I guess it's inches per minute. 1 is the lowest setting. I believe that's a 25 amp setting. Hadn't had any problem with overheating. And I'll turn the light on here where you can see maybe. I was able to fill this gap. There was a pretty good gap down through here. It took my time, really from about right here all the way back. I'll say at least an 1/8 of an inch gap. And I just took my time and filled a little here and a little here, and then finally got about 2 fingers wide. I just went ahead and of course it got red and hot, but I think it'll grind down pretty good. Really pleased with this new welder. I think right here I'm going to have to drop back and cut a little more out, because this is very thin. It's almost paper thin right here. So I think I'm going to drop back to where I've got this welded and cut another little chunk out and put me a piece in there. I am going to come back and cut another little chunk out of here, probably like a little triangle shape. Come down, up, and then down to fill this gap in I left. It's just too big a gap. There's no way to really cut a little sliver and fit in there, so we're just going to make a little triangle here, fill that in. A little extra welding, but it's my boo-boo, so I got to fix it. This right here is pretty thin. Pitted really bad right up in here, so we'll probably just drop back and cut this section out and just put a plate in, weld a plate in right there, and then we'll be ready to move on to the other side once I get all this welded up. So anyway, just want to show you, the welder's doing a hell of a job. At this point I'm just hoping I got enough wire to keep feeding it, because I've been out here probably for at least an hour welding around this stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't.